Before the critically acclaimed racing game known as Gran Turismo released for the PlayStation and took the world by storm, the team behind it created a few games that were a bit different. Those were Toon Grand Prix 1 and 2. The first game never left Japan, so when the sequel was brought to the US, it was simply called Toon Grand Prix. This cartoonish racing game features a variety of characters, and most of them drive anthropomorphic vehicles. You've got Captain Rocket, Raptor and Raptor, Princess Jean, Bullbox, and the Penguin Bros. There's also a few unlockable characters you can get after completing the game on easy. Each character plays differently, and it's sorta based around the vehicle they drive. Like, Captain Roxcar is a fast all-around type, and Raptor, who drive an alien ship, have a harder time with movement, but since they hover above the ground, they're not affected in any way by going off-road. Actually, as a fun fact, Raptor may be the best characters in the game, not only because they can drive over terrain unaffected, but because they're insanely fast when driving in reverse. So that takes that duo off the list for a challenge run. But luckily, there's another pair that perfectly fit the mold. The Penguin Bros are two twins that brandish guns and smoke cigars. They also dress like old-timey gangsters, and drive a jalopy called the Penguin Mobile. The Penguin Mobile has great maximum speed, but is one of the hardest cars to control in the game due to its, quote, poor tires. They're also only recommended for advanced players, so could they actually just be insane on the track? Or will it be another case where the weaknesses overshadow the strengths? Guess we'll have to find out and see if you can beat Toon Grand Prix only using the Penguin Bros. For this challenge, I'm going to try and complete the championship race on Expert, and since I'll be playing on this difficulty, the game automatically turns off the use of any items. With that kind of leaving out any need to explain things in the game outside of the fact that the championship race is your typical Grand Prix with points, a podium, yada yada yada, let me take a second to talk about how loaded this game is off of a fresh file. Like, listen to this insane menu theme. Bro, what am I hearing? What have my ears been blessed with? Turn this shit up. You can't tell me that doesn't get your head bopping. Also, the background is changeable for some reason, and they give you a ton of options to choose from. I cycled through most of them, eventually settling on beans. Once I had all my new settings and changes in place, I went to the free race mode just to see how difficult these Penguin Bros are to play. Holy crap. Dude, this thing is crazy. Oh boy. We got ourselves a classic case of inability to turn. Well, that's not entirely true. You just can't make any hard turns. If you want to get by with the Penguin Bros, you have to drift. And who could have guessed? The Bros drift so slowly. On top of that, their acceleration is mid at best. And when you drift, you lose speed. I wanted to see what I was really dealing with here. So I went into the championship race and was made an example of by everybody. What do I do? This is insane. The championship plays as a catch-up style race, so while I was struggling to make it through the first couple of turns, first place was already more than halfway through the lap ahead of me. Drifting can make your turns so wide if you do them incorrectly, and that caused me many trips into the off-road. I was hopelessly behind, and with this only being the first race, I chose to retire so I could try again.
This is boring! You said it! Oh, try again.
What did I do? It was the first race. What did I do? What did I do? Well, that was not what I was expecting at all. I don't think I can remember many games that show your character being punished for quitting early. It's even better hearing the jolly menu music right after watching your homies get cartooned. Instead of going back for more punishment, I loaded into a single race so that I could still get the experience of racing against others, without the need of witnessing my bros getting slimed. The drifting in this game was definitely not going to be mastered overnight. It's hard to explain, but it just feels so slow and awkward to perform. Sometimes I'd have a good turn, and then follow it up by smacking into something. I swore I saw a shortcut in here too, but my eyes played tricks on me. Oh, that wasn't an opening at all. Still, it appeared that there were a lot of things to explore in this track, so maybe some kind of shortcut or more favorable route will be discovered in time. For more curiosity's sake, I wanted to give the championship another try. I still wasn't anywhere near ready for Expert, but on the bright side, I was able to keep up with 7th and 6th, though it did give me some racing game PTSD. If my eyes have to witness anything regarding not qualifying, I'm gonna be so mad. I ended up with 6th place, and that was just enough to get get by to the next race in Toon Village. The track starts out with such a basic right turn that doesn't look like it needs to be drifted on at all, but the Penguin Bros car just can't handle such a daunting task. Toon Village required so much drifting all throughout the track, you'd think this was Initial D. I was playing so poorly that my mind immediately shifted back into finding a shortcut. That must have been why I was doing so bad. So in the second lap, I began the search.
Sucker!
If I recall...
Final lap.
How is that not a shortcut? But there was nothing. Not anywhere out of bounds, nor in places that seemed like they were prime spots. I did find out at this point that you get 2 extra retries per playthrough, so I could at least have that in my back pocket in case I needed it. But if I wanted to win, it was likely that the art of drifting would need to be mastered yet again. Just to be safe, I roamed around in Toon Island, because there was too much to explore to not put a shortcut in there. And while there was a lot to see, even places that went far out of the way of the race, I still didn't find anything. Maybe this is where items could have helped you get around and cut through the track? Guess I'll never know. I gave the championship another try, but I was still only able to come up in 6th place. The Penguin Bros handling is so terrible and clunky that it was starting to drive me nuts. How do you even catch up with How do you catch up with anybody? To make sure I wasn't crazy, I tried out another character instead to see if they'd fare any better. Sure enough, Captain Rock was infinitely better to play as than the Penguin Bros. The handling was so much more manageable, and while it didn't go as fast as the Bros, I was able to keep up with everyone else just fine. Probably because it's not constantly losing speed at almost every turn. I got 3rd place on my first try with Captain Rock on Expert, so I could at least confirm that the Penguin Bros were just that much more difficult to play. The only thing I could do at this point was practice, which I did for a little while on the island. My turning was still a bit rough around the edges when I returned to the main challenge, but the improvements were tremendous. Maybe. Oh yeah, that's what we like. It was a close call, but 3rd place was such a drastic improvement from hardly being able to keep up with anyone at all. Now for the bad news. I had spent so much time working on the island that I had totally forgot about Toon Village. I still could not manage the turns here at all. It was so bad that when everyone else finished the race, the game forced me to reset. It says continue, but we all know that it really means I failed to qualify, which is fair given that I wasn't dead last. Now you might be saying to yourself, well Ray, why don't you just practice here like you did on the island? Hell, why not practice on all the tracks? My answer is that I definitely would, but the other tracks weren't unlocked yet, and are only available after you reach them in the championship race. Even if I got the village down and carried on, I'd still have 3 more tracks to get through, which would probably end in the same way. So I did something a little different, and played through the entire game on easy with Bullbox to gain access to the rest of the tracks. This game is so much more enjoyable when you can actually play it. I had access to items too, which you can get on a roulette wheel after you pass through these coins on the ground. I didn't know what some of them did, but they were still pretty cool. Treasure! Or never mind. Anyway, the 3rd track in the game is Crazy Coaster. There's no roller coasters here, contrary to the track name, but it was a track that seemed more built for speedy characters, which could be good for the Penguin Bros. Then there's Gulliver House 2, which is a race inside of a house, and then it becomes a casino, billiard table, restaurant, I think. It's got a lot of different things here. This track has some turns that I'm sure I'll have fun with later, like this sharp corner by the tank of fish and the area with this chocolate and wine. Finally, at the end, we have Haunted Castle. This track pulls no punches. At the start, you have a crazy sharp turn, which will lead you down a narrow, twisty path that is completely open to fall off of. The track stays open around the dragon's lair, and has some more sharp turns when you enter the Haunted Castle. Based off of the beginning of this track alone, I knew that it was going to be a big problem. For completing the championship in first, I was shown the end credits and unlocked some new characters. I was really not looking forward to this one. I think you can probably tell why.
Hello, Vanity.
Alongside these new additions to the roster, every track was now available for me to practice in. While roaming through these tracks, I noticed that turning is slightly better if you begin to brake and execute your turn while completely letting go of acceleration. It's not perfect or anything, the turning is still really slow and heavy, but it helped a little bit. Crazy Coaster was a track I had almost no issues with, but as I suspected, Gulliver House and Haunted Castle were not the most fun to get through, especially Haunted Castle. This turn near the beginning is wild, even for a vehicle with decent handling, but I'll have to worry about that when I get to it. For now, the real challenge was trying to get a decent start in Toon Island. The problem here was that while I was doing much better than ever before, I was always just shy of second place, which also meant that first place was close within my grasp. Getting 10 points to start off the championship would be huge, and if I wanted that, I needed to avoid making any major mistakes. My biggest problem was literally just this one turn. Oh boy, that's not good. Oh boy, come on, dude. One turn! You have to initiate your drift a little early if you want to get around it. Manage that, and of course play the rest of the track well, and you should get first place every time. Wait for it, block him. Yes! First place! I knew I could do it! I just want to show a comparison between one of my third place times and this first place one. I wasn't joking around when I said that I couldn't make any major mistakes. Despite some practice, Toon Village was still an awful race for me. There's just so many turns that feel so demanding, and the loss of speed from them tended to hold me back. I accepted that this race would probably be a throwaway, and was content with leaving with any points at all. Scoring 5th place got me 2 points, and I was only 4 points behind Captain Rock, which wasn't so bad. Crazy Coaster was going about as well as I had hoped. I was speeding along and contending for the top 3. Well, I would have been if I didn't hit this wall at the end. No problem, I still had all my retries. Surely I'll get in on the next one. What happened? What happened? Well, that's not good. I've hit plenty of walls in this game, but nothing ever killed my speed quite like that. It seems that if you meet with a wall after going through a speed boost, it'll act as multiple hits very quickly. That one blunder killed my chances of winning this race. So it was on to the final try, where I pulled the same crap again. With no retries left, I had to accept 4th place, which essentially flushed my chances of winning down the toilet. Gulliver House would end up being the final nail in the coffin. I had a few bad turns, sure, but what really did me in was this turn around the spinning lamp. Going up into this shelf and missing the main path sealed my fate. Oh my god. Like, look at how far back this set me from everyone else in such a short amount of time. Sorry, bros, it's curtains for you once again. But with this loss, I had a standard now for what a successful championship run could look like. I had to be in first place in Toon Island. Somewhat difficult, but far from impossible. Gotcha now, you rat. Eat my Then anything above 5th in Toon Village would be a big win. Following that up with another first place spot in Crazy Coaster would be huge too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Ooh! Then as long as I could perform somewhat decently in Gulliver's House and Haunted Castle, I should have more than enough points to get first in the championship. Oh boy. Well, we can at least see what happens at the end. This turn sucks. All right. Oh my god. Every time, make the path a little bigger for sake. Well, that all didn't pan out like I had hoped, but the vision is there. It just needs a little more fine-tuning. So let's check and see where I can improve. We've already ruled out shortcuts, and of course turning needs to be better, but surely there's got to be more that I could do. So I referred back to the game's manual and a game facts guide and found some helpful tips. First and foremost, there's no start boost in the championship race, so we can toss that out. But there are 2 other things I can do to enhance my performance. Those are shunting and slipstreaming. Shunting works by forcing the car behind you to rear end you while you're moving slow. Doing this will cause an instant speed increase. Forcing a hit like this can cause the other vehicle to slow down too. And slipstreaming is performed by positioning yourself right behind the car that's in front of you. Doing so will cause your speed and acceleration to increase past their limits, allowing you to pass through the vehicle in front of you with ease. These techniques provided a lot of help in this challenge, though they're pretty much useless if I can't get the hang of drifting. The Penguin Bros have the speed, but man, they control like total ass. Sometimes just making it to the end was a challenge in and of itself. And if you're lucky enough to get to the Haunted Castle with a little bit of hope in your heart, it'll only take a lap or 2 to completely crush those dreams and slap you back to reality. Dude, how are we already Oh my god, dude, we're already The Haunted Castle is just a total mess for these guys. It's bad enough that it has some of the harshest turns in the game, but to add on the likelihood of falling out of bounds right after them too, absolutely fiendish. The castle pretty much swapped places with the village. While I got better in the latter, there was little hope that I was going to take a top placement in the castle. This kinda switched up my idea of what a win could possibly look like for me. The first 3 races could all be won. Maybe even placing second in Toon Village could be okay too. And with there only being 5 races, a top 4 spot in the house may give me enough points to win no matter where I place in the Haunted Castle, as long as it's not last. Now to just make that happen, and it isn't gonna be easy. My next stream, I didn't even make it past Crazy Coaster. Granted, I had took a few days off since I moved into a new place, if you couldn't tell because it looks almost exactly the same, but it just further proves that this game is a tough one to master. After going through all that humiliation, the next day's attempts were off to a much better start. How's progress going? It's okay. Yep. Okay, well, aside from that, I was getting past the first 3 races, all within first to second place. There was even one instance where Captain Rock, who's been our rival for every playthrough, ended up getting 3rd place behind Bullbox and Crazy Coaster in an upset, giving me a 6-point lead. For the record, this is rare. Your rival almost never places below second. It's unfortunate that my nerves got the better of me in Gulliver House. I blew through all of my continues trying to get a top spot. Even though I managed to get 3rd place, Captain Rock ended up winning, and that tied up the score. There was probably no chance I'd beat him in Haunted Castle, but I guess anything is possible. And I don't know why what? Oh yeah, there's some more issues that came about. Sometimes when you're in the air off of a jump, your car will slant to the right or left, and you have no control over where you go. I have no idea what causes this, but it ended my run. I would end up placing second. Not so bad for my first ever podium, though I wasn't having it. This means nothing to me. Get me out of here. However, I followed this up with an insane run, getting first place in the Island, Village, and Crazy Coaster. I choked a bit in Gulliver House and ended up using my last retry, but the trade-off was a nice spot in 3rd, still giving me a comfortable lead by 8 points. Now it's back to Haunted Castle with a decent point lead and no retries left to his name. Can he do it? Yeah, I'm gonna throw it completely right here. It just doesn't stop, dude. It just doesn't end. Well, maybe not. Despite another choke of the century, I was able to pull off 5th. Guess we'll just have to see how everyone else placed and hope it's enough. Oh, wait. Oh, thank you. Wait a minute. Hold on, it's a tie. Does that count? Does it count? Okay, I win. Hell yeah, let's go. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I got a bit nervous when I saw the tie, but the game doesn't lie. I got the whole kit and caboodle. Top spot on the podium, a special victory animation, and a trip to the end credits, proving that you can beat MotorToon Grand Prix only using the Penguin Bros. Unless, of course, there's a mirror mode yet to be played. Well, the answer to that is yes and no. For beating the game on the hardest difficulty, you get a ton of rewards, and that includes mirrored versions of the tracks I just played on with some slight differences. However, these are only playable in the single race mode, and aren't put together in their own championship race. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about that, because the championship was pretty short. But since the championship didn't require me to finish in first in every race or anything like that, I decided that my winning run would be a challenge complete. Thank you all so much for watching. MotorToon Grand Prix certainly feels like a slept-on game, and it's still crazy to think that it would lead to one of the biggest and most recognized racing game franchises of all time. After completing this challenge, I messed around with some of the other characters, as I normally do, and almost none of them played as poorly as the Penguin Bros. Well, except for Shang, but he has even crazier speed that I'm sure could outclass the Bros with some time and effort. Now, truth be told, I don't think this challenge would have been so difficult if not for how awkward it felt to drift. Like, I think I spent around 7 hours in this game, and it still felt like I hardly really got it down. And the awkward turning is pretty much exclusive to these guys, and Shang since his car is more like an F1 vehicle. MotorToon Grand Prix can be a fun game to play through though, if you're not trying to torture yourself with the penguins while also playing on professional or expert. But if you do complete the game on expert, you unlock a ton of cool extras, like a battleship and tank game, and you get to race on Toon Island as an F1 car or a race car, and it'll run at 60 FPS. I miss when devs put bonuses like these into their games, and they're all really fun to play too. That just makes completing the game on expert even more worth it. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Also, I stream all of my challenge runs live on my Twitch channel and here on YouTube. YouTube. If you'd like to check that out, be sure to subscribe or follow me on Twitch. The link to my Twitch channel, along with links to my other social media accounts, can be found in the description. If there's a challenge run you'd like to see, you can also check out the description for a direct link where you can submit your ideas. Thanks again for watching, everyone. See you in the next video. Sup? It's Chairwood talking about that PS Triple. I ain't talking about that Wii. That Wii. People talking about how it's all new and you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say is that, come on, Wii?